U.S. Tzu Chi volunteers distribute scholarships to students at the school Tzu Chi has built in El Salvador. We learn from a nutritionist ways to choose seasoning wisely and control our daily sodium intake. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In El Salvador, in the aftermath of a massive earthquake in 2001, Tzu Chi volunteers delivered disaster relief and helped build DaAi villages. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers from the United States went to El Salvador again to distribute scholarships to 72 outstanding students at the elementary school built by Tzu Chi. At the occasion, they also promised to accompany these children as they pursue an education. Let's join them there.
During the past 10 years, many of our children might have graduated. Therefore, you might not know Tzu Chi. But we promise you that from now on, we will come to visit and accompany you regularly.
Years later, Tzu Chi volunteers have come to the elementary school Tzu Chi has built in El Salvador to distribute scholarships to outstanding students. Taiwan's representative in El Salvador is also present.
Do you know the meaning of thumbs up? Thumbs up means great.
Ese significa excelente, así.
The children also expressed their passion through the dances. The volunteers have promised that in the future, they'll continue to encourage the students as they pursue an education and a brighter future. In the aftermath of the Northern California wildfires, affected residents and volunteers have started to clean up the debris and rebuild their homes. U.S. Tzu Chi volunteers have also continued to hand out cash cards in the city of Santa Rosa to help the disaster victims. Some volunteer groups also came to the disaster areas to help the less fortunate find memorable items. Let's take a look.
After the wildfires, many residential houses have been destroyed. This couple hope to find back their memories of the past in the ashes.
We didn't have our wedding rings, and then my daughter had, when his dad passed away, he had a 21 gun salute.
Volunteers dressed in white come here particularly to help them. Residents and volunteers in the city of Santa Rosa have started to clean up the debris and rebuild their homes. Tzu Chi volunteers have also continued to distribute cash cards. 3 generations of Ruben Lopez's family recognize the spirits behind Tzu Chi's bamboo coin banks.
Yeah. And one of the aunts gave him cash and a lot of coins, a lot of change. Yeah. And he grabbed this change, grabbed the cup, and he said, "Grandpa, I want to give." So he started putting it in the cup.
So cute.
So already it touched my son and my grandson.
Judith Watson insists on taking a picture with Master Zheng Yan's photograph so that she can remember where their assistance comes from.
To all of you, you've all been so kind to me, and it really means the world. Thank you so much.
The Tzu Chi booth in the Disaster Relief Center has always been the most crowded place, which is also full of warmth and love.
In traditional coronary artery bypass graft, surgeons need to cut open the patient's breastbones, leading to longer recovery period. Currently, surgeons can perform Da Vinci surgeries, which leave smaller incision. Therefore, the patients have shorter hospital stay and less complications. Let's learn more about the benefits of this new surgery. On the 3rd day after undergoing coronary artery bypass graft, Mr. Shi is able to leave the bed and walk. It is because the surgeon used Da Vinci surgical system. There is only an 8-centimeter incision, and the surgeon did not need to cut open the breastbone. The patient feels less pain and recovers faster.
Besides the pain of the wound, I don't feel anything else and I sleep well. I could move on the 2nd day. By the 3rd day, I could go to the restroom.
In traditional surgery, the surgeons connect leg vein with a blocked coronary artery. However, now they use arm radial artery or internal memory artery, which can last longer.
脚上的静脉转到心脏上去，它要
The leg vein that is connected to the heart needs to endure much pressure. By the 10th year, it might have hardened. However, arteries can be used for more than 10 or 15 years.
10年、15年以上，90%还都是完好如新。
Since patients with coronary artery disease might not have obvious symptoms, the doctors suggest that people with angina, 3 highs, or heart emphysema undergo computed tomography or exercise electrocardiogram to assess their conditions. How can I walk with numb feet? This line from a commercial might be deeply imprinted in some people's mind. However, do you know that numbness can be caused by intramedullary tumors? Ms. Chen once suffered from numbness in her feet, and she would fall down whenever she walked. Then it was discovered that she had a tumor. Fortunately, a doctor successfully performed surgery on her. Here's our report.
This 12-centimeter long tumor caused Ms. Chen numbness in her feet 2 years ago. She thought the numbness was from walking too much, but as the symptoms progressed, she would fall for no reason.
Even when I walked on a normal road without any obstruction, without any rocks or anything, I would just fall down easily.
This tumor grew between Ms. Chen's cervical spinal cord and the thoracic spinal cord, so if a surgeon was not careful enough, he would injure the spinal cord and damage her breathing function, or she could even suffer complete paralysis. She had been looking for a doctor to operate on her, but no one dared to do it. Trying her last luck, she came to die in Tzu Chi Hospital.
I'd sought help from many doctors, but no one would operate on me. However, he was the only one who would do it, so I'm very thankful to him.
Radiation treatment couldn't cure it. There wasn't a good medicine to treat it either. If you didn't operate on her, the tumor would keep on growing. It would become so big that the patient couldn't walk or even could become paralyzed. Then you operate on her, and the result wouldn't be effective.
The surgery was about 4 hours long and the tumor was removed at last. Now Ms. Chen can walk normally again without worrying about falling down.
How do we wisely choose seasoning for cooking? In our next report, we learn from a nutritionist from Dalian Tzu Chi Hospital about the appropriate ways to make healthy cuisine and the recommended daily amount of sodium intake.
The daily amount of salt intake recommended by Ministry of Health and Welfare is only 6 grams. We can dissolve this daily amount of salt in a mineral water bottle so that when we cook, we can use this bottle of water. This way, we won't use too much salt. Road salts or sea salts are made almost without any purification, so they usually contain excessive calcium and magnesium, which may lead to diseases such as kidney stones. For this reason, we recommend the use of refined salt rather than the salt that is not purified. If we found a half bowl of soup is too salty, and if we eat up this bowl of soup after adding some water, actually the amount of salt intake is the same, and it is not meaningful if we dilute the soup with water. For instance, if we eat 12 grams of salt, then the 12 grams of salt will still exist in our body, though we may feel less salty after we dilute the soup with water. In fact, the total amount of salt remains unchanged. Potassium is used in light salt soy sauce or low sodium soy sauce to replace sodium, so it may contain low sodium but it is high in potassium. This kind of soy sauce is not suitable for patients who have heart or kidney problems or suffer from high blood pressure, so these people should eat appropriate amounts of this product. Patients with kidney diseases have limited ability to remove potassium, which may accelerate kidney failure, arrhythmia, or the loss of control of hypertension. So we suggest they simply reduce the amount of soy sauce. They should no longer eat low sodium soy sauce or light salt soy sauce.
memory loss and dementia can lead to many social problems. In recent years, the elderly taking care of the elderly has become an issue in need of greater discussion due to the nation's rapidly aging society. Today we visit Jiayi, where an elderly couple experienced difficulty as the husband suffered a stroke and left his elderly wife at home. She was later found to be incontinent with no one caring for her. Her home environment was also unbearable. Many people are worried that more similar problems will occur in the future. Here's our report.
I don't have a way to take care of my mother, and sending her to an institution is not something I can bear to do.
People are living longer these days, but there is still some deterioration as care is needed to accompany these elders.
Emotion is a hard one to deal with. This is quite common as some family members feel that elderly with dementia maybe purposely ruin them.
This 89-year-old grandmother who suffers from dementia has a blank look in her face as she relied upon her 90-year-old husband who recently had a stroke and was sent for medical emergency care. When Grandma's grandson arrived, he explained the issue to social workers. This grandma hadn't eaten, and when he gave her a lunchbox, she ate it voraciously. There's lots of spoiled food on this table, which adds to the other bad smells in the room.
It looks like these children are very unfilial, but if you think about it, they also have to work. How much income will they have if they don't work?
According to data from the Ministry of the Interior, Jiayi County is the oldest county in the country, with the highest average age index of 177, while the youngest is Hsinchu at 63.87. Like the grandma, many depend upon elderly people to look after the elderly. SOLC cares for 850 elderly people, or about 48% of the elderly in Jiayi being looked after by other elderly. Many need government resources, but when they fall ill, the ones they are looking after have no one to help and no emergency services.
Our standard practice in Taiwan is that anyone who wants to access to long-term resources or use this stuff must pass an assessment for a caregiver. There are resources available for emergency long-term care.
等一下，我们先帮阿嬷再去我们日照那边洗澡，帮她处理好。
Going from the oldest population in the country to a cosmopolitan city, there are many at the bottom rungs of society struggling to survive. After a moment, the door quietly opens a little. The room is dark and Huang Zongyong is inside. He's nearly 70 years old and lives in a 12 square meter space. Every day he lives in the dark. In his youth, Huang Zongyong worked in interior design. But later in life, he suffered a stroke and lost his ability to speak, and his memory is getting worse. Social workers have to lay out his medications to remind him to take them.
At the beginning, we asked the pharmacy to lay out his medication, and then he said that he could do it. Later, we learned that he put them all in the same morning slot and took it all.
According to data, it is estimated that there are 248,540 dementia sufferers over the age of 65 in Taiwan. And in 43 years, it is estimated the number will increase by 3.4 times. The children of these individuals are often unwilling to care for them, as they have become dependent upon social resources.
Actually, some children live quite close to their parents, but they simply don't want to take any responsibility. They simply say that you are social workers and work for this government bureau, so you have to help care for my parents.
No one wants to become lonely in old age, but with dementia coupled with more service for the elderly, society is facing a complex issue if we are truly prepared for the challenges of a rapidly aging society.
In Taiwan, Tainan city government encouraged teachers to design special lesson plans to cultivate students' moral characters. The lesson plans of 3 teachers from primary school section of Tainan Tzu Chi Senior High School have shown efficiency in inspiring students' positive thinking. They have also increased the students' willingness to help the needy. Therefore, the teachers have received awards from the government.
We should make good vows all the time and do good deeds. The plans designed by 3 teachers from the elementary division of Tainan Tzu Chi Senior High School will take the students to volunteer at a food bank or a center for people with mental disabilities.
I believe they will be happier to give than to receive presents.
They can learn from the experience of giving to know they are very important.
We must count, cherish, and create more blessing and pass forward our love.
Teacher Zhong Jialin discovered that the gap between the parents' expectation and the students' learning forces students to lose their passion to learn, so she designed a teaching plan to turn it around.
I felt my first time was quite lousy, but I was quite good the second time, so I'm quite happy.
We allow the parents to know their children and also allow the children to gain confidence, so when they are faced with difficulties, they have the courage to solve the problem.
Based on great love, these teachers came up with a plan to inspire positive thinking among the students. These 2 teaching plans received the special awards in Tainan City Government Character Education. The teachers also hope more people can join them in promoting these plans.
In Tzu Chi's education assistant, for every 10 students, there are 3 Tzu Chi volunteers who become these students' guardians, which the organization refers to as Tzu Chen fathers and either mothers. Each month, the either parents will visit the students to spend some time with them. In TCUST, there's one particular either mother that is known as Mother Dougan, as she will always bring marinated pressed tofu for the kids to eat when she visits Hualien. She looks after each kid as if they're her children.
Taking an early morning train to Hualien, Tzu Chi's either parents come bearing gifts for the students on their visit. Zheng Jingshu is nicknamed Mother Dougan as she always brings her homemade marinated pressed tofu for the students at Tzu Chi College of Technology to eat.
I discovered the children loved it, and it's a healthy snack to fill their protein quota, so I thought I should continue to provide it for them.
The Ida parents visit us each month from all corners of Taiwan. They care about our homework progress and treat us just like parents do. We gain a sense of parental love when they are around.
On the other end, the love of the Ida parents has also been extended to the teachers and staff of the school. They wash, chop, prep, and cook curry to fill the staff and teachers' stomach.
We want the educators to be enveloped in love. They interact much with the students during their workday, so if they're filled with love, then the students will be enveloped with love at the school.
In the 28 years since, the Ida parents have provided safe haven for these students who study away from home.
In Taichung, Taiwan, Mrs. Liu is a Tzu Chi care recipient who lives with her 2 sons. However, her sons are unable to take care of themselves because they suffer from multiple disabilities and cerebral palsy. Therefore, Mrs. Liu has to always stay by their side, and she sells cookies for a living. 2 years ago, she became sick due to a tumor on her thyroid gland. Therefore, she continues to be very concerned about her 2 boys.
Her 24-year-old son is hearing impaired and mentally challenged. He likes to stay with his mother like a baby. Her 18-year-old son also suffers with multiple disabilities.
If I'm taking a shower, they may go out alone or climb stairs. Then I won't know if they will have any accident.
Mrs. Liu makes and sells cookies to raise the family.
For some time, about a month, I couldn't sell even 1 cookie, but I had to pay the rent, so I was under a lot of pressure.
Her son's teacher also comes on the weekends to help her because she cares for her.
The mother sometimes works until 2 or 3 o'clock past midnight. Sometimes she doesn't sleep much, so she can't stand it.
As a mother, she is very tough. She doesn't want people to give her money. She simply wants us to eat her cookies.
2 years ago, she developed thyroid tumor because of her exhaustion. She is very concerned about her 2 boys.
When I become old, no one will look after them or love them. I wonder if they'll become homeless.
However, Mrs. Liu does not think too much about it because she just wants to sell cookies at the moment. Staying strong is her only belief.
Zhang Lingfeng is blind, and yet he has challenged himself to run across Taiwan. During his feat of endurance, he has suffered muscle pain and had to be attended to by an ambulance after 6 days of running. However, with the help of a guide, he continues his mission of running across Taiwan. His spirit helps teaches us that nothing is impossible.
下车，然后你要跨30公分出来，因为它这里有一个，对。
Zhang Linfeng is totally blind. He listens to a guide who accompanies him on the road as he has the goal of running across Taiwan with his own 2 feet. After running for 6 days, he found himself in an ambulance.
He has sore thigh muscles as we are using ice to help lower the inflammation.
However, muscle pain did not defeat Zhang Linfeng, as he is committed to his goal of jogging and walking at least 5 kilometers a day.
I want to have this experience to allow me to achieve my goals. I solely want to improve on each day and find myself better than I was yesterday.
Sometimes I introduce the scenery to him, such as what type of bridge is here. This can help the visually impaired learn more about this area.
Accompanying Zhang Lingfeng the entire way is his faithful guide, who also helps interpret the local scenery for him through his eyes. Together, the two are on an incredible adventure across Taiwan.
To raise environmental awareness, an elementary school in Malaysia has invited city volunteers to introduce recycling practices to its more than 600 students and teachers. The school hopes by doing so, the teachers and students can also take actions to protect planet Earth. We'll leave you with these images at the end of the program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.